Haven't done a tour of the front garden in quite a while. We had some little tropical storm event come through Friday and flattened a lot of the Martian Jewel corn. You can also see there's some insect feeding damage on some of this. A lot of this corn has been flowering at a smaller height than it should be. I think it maybe just got a little stressed, but as usual, we're out here picking more peppers today. You can see this little honeybee on a Tabasco pepper here. I don't think the marketing on that would be particularly great. Tell people that their honey was produced by honeybees that fed on Tabasco pepper plants. I don't think the honey would actually be spicy, but I just don't think that would be great marketing. This is a leaf-footed bug here, a squish. Most of these Tabasco peppers are just now turning orange. There's a few red ones deep in there. But I think for today we're going to focus on picking some of the habanero peppers that are ready. So the front yard is mostly flowers this year. I was going to do corn in the front yard, but it was unpopular as an idea. So there are a few pepper plants mixed in here, mostly habaneros. I don't know what we're gonna do with all these habaneros, to be honest. I think we'll probably ferment some, may cook some into some type of sauce. I think lacto fermented and then processed into hot sauce would be ideal. Some of these are a little overripe. I'm not sure if that's an issue in terms of cooking them into things like hot sauce. It may or may not be. I just don't get out here very often to pick these, which is why there's a lot that have not really rotted on the plant, but just kind of dried out. Yeah, the habaneros did surprisingly well, much better than most of the other pepper varieties out here. I had a lot of rot on some of the sweet peppers. Again, a lot of that's my fault just for not picking them in a timely manner. But the habaneros don't really seem very susceptible to rot, which is kind of cool. I haven't really grown habaneros in this type of quantity before. I think in the past I've had maybe one or two habanero plants that were mainly just kind of an ornamental type of thing. You know, some people grow habaneros and don't ever actually eat them, just because they're often too spicy to really eat fresh. I've found that if I make a very large pot of chili, you know, with a pound or two of ground beef and ground pork and a pound or two of beans, and I just put one or two individual habanero peppers into a pot of chili, that's about perfect. So there's no reason to really grow more than one plant. You can see this one plant here I'm probably going to get 50 or 60 peppers off of, but like I said, they are pretty. I suppose I could always make like some mace or something. It's finally starting to feel like fall. We got some cooler weather moving in. Here's a giant swallowtail. They're quite the pest of citrus. Wow, there's a lot of habaneros in here to pick. There's more in the backyard to pick. I guess sometimes I do make the mistake of planting more things than I need, but it's always hard to predict what type of harvest you're going to get. Sometimes you get unfavorable environmental conditions, sometimes you get pests and diseases. So I will often plant more than I think I need. There's that old saying that old farmers talk about: plant, what is it, one for the crow and one for the rat, and that just leaves one for the farmer. There was one year I think I replanted corn like 4 times because rats or something kept digging up the seeds before they would sprout. I started a couple of chocolate habanero seeds in some of these seed trays, and I haven't seen any of those plants in the garden yet. It's kind of hard to tell before the peppers start to turn color. They all pretty much look the same when they're green, and then they go through kind of an orange and red phase, and then some eventually turn, you know, a nice burgundy chocolate color, and that's absolutely stunning. There's other varieties that don't actually turn red. Some habaneros just turn orange and then kind of stop. In addition to the habaneros, I have these weird looking ones. I actually don't know what these are called. These may be the boot jalokias, and you can see they're very similar to the habanero in terms of size and color, but the pods are much more textured. I think they are also a little bit spicier. I have not done a side-by-side taste test of the boot jalokias versus the habaneros. I know the boot jalokia seeds are a little bit harder to find. Habanero seeds are very easy to find, very common variety. Boot jalokias, I'm sure you can find some online somewhere. I actually got these from a friend years ago, and the seed packet only had, I want to say like 10 seeds in it, and the seed packet was probably 12 or 15 years old. I wasn't sure how many were even going to sprout, but I do remember that when I opened the paper seed packet, even after 12 years, it literally burned my nostrils just opening the seed packet, which I thought was kind of funny. So some of those compounds like the capsaicin don't really seem to lose potency even over a period of 12 years of sitting in a packet in the refrigerator, and that was kind of amazing to me. Not sure how many more of these we need to pick today, but some of them are starting to dry out and rot on the plants, so I suppose picking them earlier is probably better. One thing that I noticed about the habaneros and the boot jalokias as compared to the sweet peppers is that while the habaneros and boot jalokias are slower to get started in terms of plant vigor, they grow slower, but they also seem to be hardier plants when it comes to things like drought, weed pressure, really high temperatures. I used to think that a lot of the really hot peppers were kind of weaker plants than some of the sweet peppers, because the sweet peppers tend to grow so much faster initially. But as you can see over here, where we have a mixture of sweet peppers and hot peppers, the tallest plant out here is one of the boot jalokias, whereas a lot of the bells and sweet peppers are a little bit shorter. They grew much faster early on, but once we got into triple-digit temperatures every day and drought pressure, some of the hot peppers were clearly the more vigorous types there. So that's all habaneros and boot jalokias there. There's more, I think, boot jalokias on this plant, although some of these are elongated. Maybe I don't know what's going on. These definitely look a lot different than the ones we just picked too. I can't seem to keep up with picking these often enough and fast enough. I just came out here and picked a couple pounds of peppers on Friday, and then I think some more on Saturday, and there's already tons more out here to eat. And this is only a small section of the garden. There's more pepper plants in the side garden, more pepper plants in the backyard, there's potted pepper plants, there's pepper plants in the greenhouse. I want to say we put out 120 pepper plants this year, so it's definitely quite a lot. And now's the time of the year where they're really coming into full flush. I think we looked at some of the purple cayennes last week, and most of those are turning red now. Look at that little dog. She doesn't want to eat purple cayennes. No. Zinnia doesn't want to eat purple cayennes. Most mammals don't particularly enjoy hot peppers. All mammals have vanillin receptors, which is the receptor that's responsible for detecting capsaicin and produces the burning effect. The natural seed dispersers of peppers are birds, and birds do not have the vanillin receptor. So when a bird eats a habanero or a boot jalokia, the bird actually has no idea that the pepper is hot. And then the bird, distributes those seeds, and they grow into new plants. The pepper plant wants to be eaten by birds, because birds don't have teeth, and they don't destroy the seeds, whereas a lot of mammals, our molars would destroy the seed if we chewed it up too vigorously. So over thousands and thousands of years of coevolution, we have reached a situation where the birds don't taste the hot peppers, the mammals are repelled by the hot peppers. Zinnia is a funny little farm dog. She'll eat radishes, and she eats a lot of stuff. She loves to eat radishes, but I've yet to see her try to eat a hot pepper, and hopefully it stays that way. I guess we could look at a few more of the pepper plants back here. I don't think I really need to pick any more today because I have a couple pounds in the refrigerator from what I picked the other day that I still haven't done anything with. I'm gonna lacto ferment some more. I'm gonna cook some into a sauce. Look at these here. These are kind of cool. I haven't had any of these ripen yet, but this plant is loaded. I don't remember what these are called, but they're a weird shape. Lots of lizards hanging out on the pepper plants. We definitely looked at the Marconis, I think a couple weeks ago. The Marconis are probably the sweetest peppers I've tasted. The pageant sweet peppers come pretty close. Looks like I need to water again. I was counting on rain today. There was like a 70% chance of storms at 2 o'clock today, and it never panned out. And just look at the yields on some of this stuff. That's wild. I mean, there's only 3 pepper plants in this little, not even a raised bed. It's a couple of logs I threw together and shoveled some dirt in, but I mean, we're probably going to get 200 peppers off of 3 plants. And you will see that 80-20 effect in your garden sometimes, that 80% of the yields come from 20% of the plants. And that does tend to be true. Here's another purple cayenne. These are just gorgeous. A shishito there. Here's another habanero that's just loaded. Like I said, I don't know what we're going to do with all this stuff. There's some more peppers here in pots. We have peppers in the greenhouse. It's been 120 in here in the daytime, and a lot of these don't really seem to be phased, but something's definitely chewing on them. I don't know what comes in here at night and chews on these things, but makes me wonder if it's something that doesn't feel comfortable being out in the open, because the greenhouse is protected from some things, and I'm not seeing this type of damage on my peppers out in the open, but I am seeing it in the greenhouse. There's another one of those citrus butterflies, giant swallowtails, that I guess they are pretty, but the caterpillar stage can be fairly devastating to small citrus plants. But yeah, I was fairly impressed with how the peppers in the greenhouse were tolerating the triple-digit temperatures, so that's been nice. It wasn't really that I wanted to plant peppers in the greenhouse. It was more of a function of the greenhouse has no ventilation or fans, so I knew it was going to get hot in the summer. And I thought, you know, what can I plant in here that will survive? And that happened to be peppers. And they all seem to be doing fine. But we have a couple more pepper plants to look at. So we have another habanero over here that outcompeted all of the other peppers in this raised bed. This raised bed, I think, was 8 or 10 different varieties of peppers. Quite a few of them succumbed to some type of disease. I think this is like an enlarged jalapeno here. This is a purple bell. I think these are improved shishitos I've been working on, but you can see the habanero back there is just loaded. And it's clearly the winner out of all these peppers. The basil did take over a bit. That was lemon basil. It outcompeted some of the peppers. Yeah, so that's our 120 pepper plants or so. Thank y'all for tuning in to another boring pepper video. I don't know, I guess it wasn't boring because we had this purple cayenne in here.